Today I'll be discussing Cricket Australia versus the Australian Cricketers Association. On March 24th, 2018, during the third test match between Australia and South Africa in Cape Town, Australian cricketer Cameron Bancroft was caught on television and on screens at the cricket ground tampering with the cricket ball and subsequently hiding the object he was tampering the ball with in his pants. At the end of the day's play, Bancroft and team captain Steve Smith attended a press conference. Bancroft admitted to ball tampering, claiming to have used a short length of yellow adhesive tape to which dirt and grit had attached. However, after an investigation by Cricket Australia, the national governing body of cricket in Australia, Bancroft admitted to having used sandpaper. Furthermore, Captain Steve Smith admitted to having known of the plan to tamper with the ball in advance, but said that he would not be standing down as captain of the team. Bancroft was charged with ball tampering and fined 75% of his match fee by the match referee, and Smith was charged with conduct that is contrary to the spirit of the game and fined 100% of his match fee by the International Cricket Council. The following day, Cricket Australia apologized to fans and confirmed that both Smith and David Warner, vice captain of the team, had agreed to stand down from their roles for the remainder of the match. 2 days later, Cricket Australia announced that Smith, Warner, and Bancroft had been charged with bringing the game into disrepute, were suspended, and would be sent home. Cricket Australia were satisfied that no other players or their coach were involved. Cricket Australia found that Warner had been irresponsible for the plan to ball tamper and had demonstrated that to Bancroft how to do it, has misled match officials, and not voluntarily reported his involvement. His punishment was a 12-month ban from all international and domestic cricket and to not be considered for leadership positions in the future. Smith was found to have known of the ball tampering plan and failed to prevent it, to have told Bancroft to conceal the sandpaper in his pants, to have misled match officials, and made misleading public comments. His punishment was a 12-month ban from all international and domestic cricket and not to be considered for leadership positions for a further year after the conclusion of his suspension. Bancroft was found to be party to the ball tampering plan, to have carried out Warner's instructions, and to have attempted to conceal the evidence, and made misleading statements to match officials and the public. His punishment was a 12-month ban from all international and domestic cricket, and to not be considered for leadership positions for a further year after the conclusion of his suspension. Although the coach, Darren Lemon, was cleared of any wrongdoing or involvement, he resigned after the fourth test in Johannesburg. Cricket Australia also announced that there would be a full review of the culture and conduct of Australia's national cricket teams. Now, this type of conflict is one of man versus society, and the source of the conflict comes from a difference of expectation between Cricket Australia and the Australian Cricketers Association. Cricket Australia had imposed sanctions on the players involved with the ball tampering, which also included Captain Steve Smith and Vice Captain David Warner. Warner not only knew about the ball tampering scheme, he hatched the plan and told Bancroft how to do it. Captain Steve Smith was guilty of knowing about the plan and made no attempt to stop it from happening, among other offenses committed by all three of the players. The Australian Cricketers Association, the Union for an Australian Professional Cricketers, challenged the fairness and severity of the proposed punishments on the basis that sanctions were disproportionate and unprecedented, particularly that the sanctions imposed by Cricket Australia were far greater than those imposed by the International Cricket Council, and also that had been previously imposed for similar offenses. it is apparent that the underlying interests are very similar in both parties, with the exception of severity of the discipline being the difference. I think that Cricket Australia's underlying interest in this situation is to discipline those who have broken the rules and tarnished the reputation of their sport, organization, and their country. On the other hand, I think that the underlying interests of the Australian Cricketers Association is very similar, but puts an emphasis on fairness in relation to other organization disciplines that have been previously administered for similar offenses. Cricket Australia has made a point that they take these offenses very seriously. However, seeing how both parties seek discipline, it may be advisable that Cricket Australia reduce the punishments. I would do so by proposing a distributive bargaining technique called the cost-cutting technique. This will not alter the original demand, meaning that there will be a punishment for the offenses made by the respective players, but the perceived punishment by Cricket Australia will be reduced. One of the factors involved in this conflict is that other players and country organizations from other regions of the world were not disciplined as severely for the same offense, and neither Australian Cricketers Association nor Cricket Australia can change the fines and punishments of their organizations.